It was an ordinary summer evening in rural Iowa, 1996. The sun dipped behind endless cornfields, casting long shadows across the Miller family farmhouse. Inside, 12-year-old twin sisters, Lily and Leah, were finishing their homework at the kitchen table, laughter echoing softly through the house. Their mother, Carol, was preparing dinner, and their father, Tom, had just returned from the barn. But by morning, the house was silent. Their beds were neatly made. No signs of a struggle, no broken windows, no muddy footprints. Lily's favorite stuffed animal was left untouched on her pillow, something she never slept without. The sheriff's department scoured the area for weeks. Helicopters, dogs, and volunteers combed the fields and nearby woods. But there was nothing. No scent. No footprints. It's not even a dropped shoe. Locals started whispering. Some believed they were kidnapped. Others feared something more sinister. Something that lived deep in the land, or maybe in the farmhouse itself. Years passed. The Miller family fell apart under the weight of unanswered questions. Their farmhouse, once filled with love and laughter, became a hollow shell. Dust collected, weeds grew, and Lily and Leah. They became ghosts in their own story, just two names etched into a community's nightmares. Then, in 2023, nearly 3 decades later, a real estate developer bought the property, and during the renovation, workers stumbled upon a sealed door behind a false wall in the basement. What they found inside would send chills through the FBI. Crack open a long-dead case and uncover a truth that was more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. Subscribe to Unsolved Chronicles now, because the mystery is just beginning. The Miller farmhouse sat quietly among golden cornfields, surrounded by wooden fences and a dirt road that led to nowhere fast. It was the kind of place where time moved slowly. Birds chirped in the morning, cows mooed in the distance, and neighbors still waved as they passed by in their trucks. Inside the house lived a family of 4, Tom and Carol Miller, and their twin daughters, Lily and Leah. Life wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful, safe, the kind of life many dream of. Lily and Leah were inseparable. Born just 2 minutes apart, they were as close as any sisters could be. Yet as different as day and night, Lily was full of energy, always climbing trees, chasing chickens, and sneaking into the barn to pet the newborn calves. Leah, on the other hand, preferred quieter things. She loved sketching in her notebook, reading fairy tales, and helping her mom in the kitchen. But no matter how different their personalities were, they always slept in the same bed on stormy nights. Always shared secrets under the covers.
Always.
Always giggled in the dark until their dad told them to hush. The night before they vanished, everything had been normal. Painfully, heartbreakingly normal. It was a Sunday. They'd gone to church with their parents in the morning, had pancakes for lunch, played outside until the sun dipped low. That evening, Lily helped her dad feed the horses, and Leah baked cookies with her mom. Later, the girls took a warm bath, brushed their teeth, and put on their matching pajamas with little yellow ducks on them. Their mom kissed them both on the forehead. Their dad turned off the light. No one could have imagined it would be the last time they'd see those 2 girls in that room. When morning came, the world felt off, too quiet. The usual giggles and footsteps were missing. Their mom called out for them. No answer. She opened their bedroom door and froze. Their beds were untouched, as if they had never been slept in.
Ow.
The window was closed. Their shoes were still in the closet. And Lily's favorite stuffed rabbit, Mr. Buttons, was sitting on her pillow. She never went anywhere without it. In a matter of hours, the Miller family's peaceful world shattered into pieces. What had once been just another quiet farmhouse had now become the center of a nightmare. The question that echoed through the cornfields was simple and terrifying. Where did the girls go? The police first arrived at the farmhouse. They expected to find something, anything, that could explain what had happened. But the house was untouched. There were no broken locks, no shattered windows, no footprints in the dirt outside. Everything was exactly how it should have been. Too perfect. That's what scared them the most. It was as if the twins had vanished into thin air right from under their parents' roof without a single sound. The local sheriff's department worked around the clock. Deputies searched the fields, nearby forests, and even drained a small pond on the edge of the property. Dogs were brought in, Helicopters flew overhead. Volunteers from neighboring towns showed up with flashlights and hope in their hearts. But day after day, nothing. Not even a single clue. The case quickly became too large, too strange, too heartbreaking for the small-town force to handle. 3 weeks later, the FBI stepped in. They brought in specialists, profilers, forensic teams, but even they were left scratching their heads. There were no signs of a struggle, no ransom note, no digital footprints. The Miller family had no known enemies. They were respected, church-going people. Tom worked the farm. Carol volunteered at the local school. Lily and Leah were loved by everyone. So why would someone take them? Or worse, why would someone want to hurt them? Whispers spread across town. Some believed the girls ran away, though that theory made no sense. They left behind their shoes, their favorite toys, and each other's side. Others feared a more terrifying idea. Someone had taken them. Someone who had been watching, waiting. Someone who knew the family's every move. Then strange reports began surfacing. A neighbor claimed he saw strange flashing lights near the barn around midnight the night the girls vanished, but he brushed it off as lightning. Another said their dogs had barked endlessly that night, more than ever before. The third swore she saw a tall figure walking down the road, but couldn't make out their face. One by one, these stories trickled in, too late to be useful, but too eerie to ignore. And then, the letters started arriving. No return address, no fingerprints. Just short, chilling messages written in jagged handwriting. The first one read, "You were warned."
Out.
The second, "They're not yours anymore."
Out.
Each letter tore deeper into the family's hearts. Each word added more darkness to a mystery that was already suffocating. After months of searching, interviews, and dead ends, the case began to grow cold. So did the lives of the people left behind. Carol, the girl's mother, stopped smiling, stopped cooking, stopped going to church, stopped answering the phone. The woman who once sang lullabies and planted sunflowers now spent her days sitting by the window, staring at the empty fields, hoping to see her daughters running back home. Her heart had broken in silence, and each day that passed only made the cracks deeper. Tom, their father, tried to stay strong at first. He worked the farm with trembling hands, forcing himself to carry on. But the silence in the house was too loud. The empty chairs at the dinner table, the quiet bedrooms, the dust that began to settle where laughter used to live. Slowly, the weight of grief crushed him. He started drinking. He stopped shaving. He lost himself in guilt, blaming himself for not locking the barn door tighter, for not checking the window one more time. For 2 years, their story filled the news. Reporters came and went. Documentaries were filmed. Podcasts discussed theories. But after a while, the headlines faded. New tragedies took their place. The world moved on, but the town didn't. In every corner store, in every church gathering, someone still whispered about the Miller twins. Kids dared each other to walk past the farmhouse at night. People said the land was cursed, that if you stood near the barn after midnight, you could hear the sound of 2 little girls crying. Even claimed they saw shadows moving behind the curtains, though no one lived there anymore. By 2010, the Miller farmhouse had become more of a ghost than a home. With no children left, no hope, and no more strength, Carol and Tom left the house behind. They moved out without a goodbye, without packing much. They just left. Like something in that house had finally swallowed their souls whole. The house stood alone after that, shutters falling off, weeds choking the porch, wind whistling through broken glass. A home once filled with warmth was now frozen in time, with secrets still hiding in its walls. In the spring of 2023, after sitting abandoned for over a decade, the Miller farmhouse was finally sold to a real estate company. Their plan was simple: fix it up, flip it, and sell it to some out-of-towner, looking for peace in the countryside. The workers arrived with tool belts and blueprints, completely unaware of the darkness that still lingered in those walls. As the renovation began, the crew started tearing down old panels and rotted floors. The house creaked with every step, like it remembered every scream that was never heard. Most of the crew ignored the unease they felt, until one day a worker in the basement knocked on the far wall and heard something strange, a hollow echo. He called the supervisor over, and together they removed the paneling. Behind it, hidden beneath layers of drywall and dust, was a small iron door, heavy, rusted, and completely sealed shut. No hinges on the outside, no handle. Almost like it was never meant to be opened again. After hours of struggle, they forced the door open. What they found inside stopped them cold. The hidden room was small, no bigger than a child's bedroom. The air was stale, thick with years of silence. Against the wall were two tiny twin-sized beds, their sheets still clinging to the frames. Faded drawings were taped to the walls. Crayon hearts, stick figures, and one picture of two girls holding hands beneath a smiling sun. In the corner sat a torn teddy bear, its eye missing, its fur worn down from being hugged too tightly for too long. It was unmistakable. Mr. Buttons, the same toy Lily had loved since she was a baby. The bear that was found on her pillow the morning she vanished. But the most chilling discovery was near the ceiling. Wires, monitors, a full camera system, dusty but intact. The wires ran through the concrete, out of the hidden room, and led all the way to the attic of the barn outside. Someone had been watching, recording, studying, for how long no one knew. The renovation stopped immediately. Police were called. The FBI returned to the farmhouse nearly 27 years after they had first stepped onto the property. But this time, they were about to uncover a truth more disturbing than any of them had ever expected. As the FBI combed through the newly discovered basement room, their agents worked carefully, preserving every inch of the space. Dust-covered items were bagged as evidence. Samples were taken from the walls, floorboards, and bedding, but it was the fingerprints that sent a shiver through the room. Dozens of prints were recovered, small ones faded with time. When they ran them through the database, 2 of the prints matched perfectly. They belonged to Lily and Leah Miller, confirming something terrifying. The girls had been alive after the night they vanished. They had been hidden, not taken far away, but kept in that very house, beneath their parents' feet. The agents didn't say a word. They just kept working, knowing that something far darker was still waiting to be revealed. Then came another hit, a larger set of fingerprints, adult-sized, strong, fresh enough to suggest this person had been in the room more recently than anyone expected. The name that came back? Raymond Miller, the girl's uncle. The man who had always been quiet, always in the background. A little odd but kind, or so people thought. He had lived in the guest house behind the farmhouse until 1998, just 2 years after the girls vanished. One day he simply left, told his brother he was heading to Canada for work, and never came back. No one questioned it too much. The family was broken by grief, and Ray had always kept to himself anyway. Now, nearly 25 years later, his fingerprints were found in a secret basement where 2 little girls had been hidden. That's when the agents noticed something strange in the barn. A corner panel on the wooden floor looked newer than the rest. One agent pulled it up, revealing a hollow space beneath. What they discovered was a narrow tunnel, hand-dug and supported with rotting wooden beams. It stretched from the barn all the way beneath the house, ending directly at the secret room. Ray hadn't just been watching. He had created an entire underground passage to move unseen between the barn and the basement. He had been there, watching the family, watching the girls. And for years, no one knew. Behind an old cabinet in the hidden basement room, agents found a rusted metal box sealed with heavy tape. When they pried it open, they discovered a stack of dusty, unlabeled VHS tapes. Each one numbered in fading red ink. Some were cracked, others warped with age, but many were still playable. What the agents saw when they played the tapes changed everything. The screen flickered to life, and there they were, Lily and Leah, alive, sitting on those same twin beds. Their faces were pale, their eyes distant, but it was them, unmistakably them. In the early tapes, the girls looked scared, but unharmed. They clung to each other, whispered softly, sometimes cried. One clip showed Ray bringing them food. He sat down between them, speaking gently, saying strange things like, "They'll never understand you. I'm keeping you safe. There's evil in that house." He wasn't just hiding them, he believed he was saving them, from what no one could say. As the tapes went on, something began to change. The girls were no longer together in the same room. Lily appeared in later tapes alone, more withdrawn, staring blankly at the wall. Leah was seen in another room, crying while Ray spoke softly behind the camera, asking her questions over and over again. What did your mother do? What did your father say? Who loves you more? Who's trying to reprogram them? Erase their trust in their parents? In each other? He wanted to make himself their only connection, their only comfort. And slowly, painfully, it seemed to work. The later videos became darker. Ray's voice grew angrier, the girls' faces more hollow. Then came the final tape, one that would haunt every agent who watched it. It started normally. A dim view of the basement, the camera slightly tilted. Leah sat quietly in the corner, humming to herself. Suddenly, the door slammed open. Screaming. A figure rushed in. It was Lily, wild-eyed, yelling Leah's name. The camera shook violently as it was dropped to the ground. Then came a scream, a crash, and silence. The tape ended there, just static. No one knows what happened in those final moments. But one thing became clear. Whatever Ray had done, it had all come apart in the end. And the truth, after all these years, was even worse than anyone had imagined. After weeks of digging through the house and property, the FBI made a heartbreaking discovery beneath the basement floor. Human remains, carefully wrapped in an old, stained blanket. The air in the room turned heavy. Even the toughest agents stood still, knowing that after all these years, at least one of the Miller twins had been found. The remains were sent for testing. Days passed in silence. Then came the confirmation no one wanted but everyone needed. It was Leah. Her DNA matched perfectly. Carol and Tom Miller, now old and fragile, were contacted. Carol didn't speak. She just closed her eyes and held the necklace Leah had made for her when she was 7. Tom wept into the same hands that once taught his daughters to tie their shoes. But there was something strange. Something that didn't make sense. There was no sign of Lily. No second body. No trace of her clothes. Not a strand of hair. Nothing to suggest she had died in that room alongside her sister. And just when the FBI thought the search had reached its end, a young agent made a chilling discovery. A fresh footprint in the soft dirt outside the old Tunnel S exit behind the barn. Small, barefoot, and recent, as if someone had been there. Watching. Word spread fast. Some thought it was a mistake. A print from one of the workers, maybe, but others weren't so sure, especially when the sightings began. Locals from nearby towns started reporting strange encounters. A woman, thin, pale, wearing old clothes, seen wandering near the edge of the woods, never speaking, disappearing before anyone could approach. One couple swore she looked just like Lily would at age 34. Same eyes, same long blonde hair, same locked expression. The authorities couldn't confirm anything. But they also didn't close the case. Because what haunted everyone, from the FBI to the broken parents to the neighbors who still remembered those sweet little girls, was a single, lingering question. Did Lily escape that night, or worse? Is she still out there, living in fear, hiding from a world she was never meant to return to? The farmhouse has since been boarded up. Nature is taking it back. But at night, when the wind moves through the cornfields and the barn creaks in the dark, some say you can still hear footsteps and soft humming. Some stories never end. Some ghosts don't rest, and some truths refuse to stay buried. The mystery of the Miller twins still echoes through the empty rooms, the broken barn, and the silence of the woods. One sister was found beneath the floor. The other may still be walking among us, unseen, unheard, but not forgotten. Because even after the cameras stop and the headlines fade, the story is still breathing. Subscribe to Holeborn Unsolved, where every story has a heartbeat, even the haunted ones.